Hello, welcome to my hardcore world. I just figured I'd show it off real quick. We're currently in my main storage and just wanted to go over a couple of things here. I've built up quite a lot of stuff in this world that I'm pretty proud of. I do have pretty much all of the replays from everything, but honestly this is mostly just a project for myself, so I'm not super concerned with recording every tiny little bit of it, you know, for proof or verification or anything. I'm mostly just going to play until I get bored of it, or hopefully I don't die at some point, but it'll definitely come eventually. Not a very big deal to me. I had been recording some of the world previous to this for just a couple of episodes at some point, but I actually ended up burning out on editing the videos because, as it turns out, I really enjoy recording the gameplay and talking about the things that I've done, but editing the videos really sucks, and I'm not a huge fan of that. So I'm pretty much just going to do this in a couple of takes and with some pretty minimal editing, so apologies if I mispronounce any words, or, you know, if I don't really have a great cadence through the video, but mostly I just wanted to show off what I've done here. So this is, like I said, my sort of main storage area. This has been all done in mostly vanilla and, you know, in hardcore, obviously. I'm in 1.21.1 right now. I haven't updated, I think 0.4 is the most recent version with the new biome added, but I'll get there eventually. So this is the little, I don't know, it's almost like a keep or something. I started with just a tiny little house and balcony that was sticking out here, and then I built the tower off to the side of that. After the tower was done and there was still just a little house here, I noticed that the scale didn't really fit, and I didn't really love exactly how it was all working together, so I tore the little house down and built these two little, I don't know, half tower things that are coming on here. It almost looks like a castle wall sort of deal, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. There's some bulk storage out here and a little brewing section. Some small little gadgets there and wherever. This is Todd. He's my baby zombie. There was a chicken jockey when he originally went in there. I'm not really sure what happened to the chicken, but now it's just him chilling in there, so he's pretty cool. This is a map of my world. As you can see, I only have one single glow ink sac, so just the middle one there is illuminated, but we'll finish getting the rest of those illuminated at some point. I need to build a glowing ink sac farm. Just haven't felt like doing it yet. We'll get a pretty good shot of that real quick. I quit moving the camera around. So I've explored a decent amount of this world, and you've probably already noticed some of the terrain doesn't exactly look vanilla, and it's because it's not. So I am using the Terralith and Tectonic data packs that alter some of the world generation in the overworld, because I really like how they look. It smooths out the world generation, makes some really big mountains and some really big mountain ranges. I'll go off this way a little bit. And stuff like this is just really cool. You can't really get mountains like this in vanilla Minecraft, and I really appreciate that. I also have an amplified nether and the nullscape end biome, which actually made the dragon fight pretty difficult, and exploring and finding my first elytra was kind of a pain with the massive gaps in between islands. I don't know if I've ever actually held the shift button so hard as whenever I was going across there. I also had to get a shulker back over there. I'll show you the shulker farm here after a little while. And it was a huge pain to make some pretty big bridges across the gaps that were there that don't normally appear in vanilla generation, but overall it's been a lot of fun. If I were to do it again, I would probably leave the amplified nether off at the very least. It makes it kind of hard to make mob farms with the higher bedrock level and the higher Y level in general. It's just kind of a pain. Your mob farms are slowed down quite a lot. I haven't started breaking any like significant amount of bedrock yet, so eventually I can fix that problem, but for now it's just gonna chill there, and most of my farms run at like 40% efficiency of what they really should. Let me fly over here and I'll sleep real quick. So this is my sort of industrial area. This is where I started out at the very beginning of the world whenever I started breeding villagers and getting all of my armor and emeralds, and I built a quick and dirty little iron farm over there. So I felt it was just pretty natural to continue building most of my beginner farms over here. So I have some just regular stuff, bamboo and sugarcane and pumpkins and melons and netherwort and stuff like that. This is my terribly ugly little villager hall. I'll make these guys a real build at some point, but I do have every enchantment in there and, you know, some iron traders and stuff like that. So I can get a decent amount of emeralds. Not the most emeralds in the world, but for single player, you know, it's been fine so far. This is just a quick little furnace stack. I can't really remember the names of any of the people that have designed most of these farms. I will say I haven't designed any of these myself. But if anybody is curious and wants to know more information about any of the farms that I'm showing off here, just shoot me a comment somewhere in the section below and I'll make sure to get links for everything. Credit to everybody that made all of these farms. I didn't design any of them myself, but it has been a lot of fun building everything. So that makes really quick work of anything that I need to smelt. I've got a little slime farm over here. This works off the oozing slime potions, which I think are stored, yeah, back there. So you just build snow golems right here and it'll detect it. Shove the snow golems over there and the slimes will pop out right here into the trench. They come over and they shoot up through the waterlogged scaffolding so you can sit here and swing straight down with your looting sword and you'll get a pretty decent amount of slime out of it. It's not the most slime. I'm definitely going to need a bigger slime farm probably here before too long because it's kind of a pain to, if you want to run it like consecutively, but it definitely gets the job done and it's really, really incredible for how little effort it takes to get there. Like, this is probably the best effort to slime return that you can get, or at least that I've ever seen anywhere. And then this is just a little cobblestone farm. So it'll load the shulker boxes right there. It'll blow the cobblestone up from the top. It's got a load of clock on top, and it'll dispense there, blow the cobblestone up, and it'll regenerate. Loads all the cobblestone for me into boxes automatically, which is super useful. And then just sort of the generic back and forth player pushing stone farm. Nothing super special going on. Oh, the iron farm over here. So this is the first farm that I ever built on the world. And it makes a pretty good amount of iron, honestly, for how easy it is to build. Just a little simple triple setup. The, like, world's smallest clock and just a tiny little killing mechanism down at the bottom. They just all float into the lava there, and then you get the drops down at the bottom. This has been, honestly, really, really powerful for how easy it was to build. I will definitely be building a significantly larger iron farm in the future, but realistically, if I just AFK'd this thing for like 2 or 3 nights or something, I would have enough iron for like all of my projects. I do honestly not AFK in this world, since it is hardcore. There's a lot of times that I could AFK and it really wouldn't be a big deal, and I can like sort of guarantee that I'll be safe, but since it is hardcore, it just makes me nervous, and there's like no way that I can get up from my computer and not be nervous that something jank or glitchy isn't gonna happen and some crazy zombie is gonna pop through an obsidian block somewhere and kill me anyway. So I will go idle, you know, and sort of let it run on like the other monitor, and I'll watch a YouTube video or, you know, work on a design for something or whatever on the other side. But I am always keeping an eye on the world itself if I'm actually in and loaded. Those vines are annoying. I'm gonna have to remove that. Where did that grow from? Oh, from the mangrove. I'm gonna have to remove those. That's gonna be really annoying. But this is my tree farm. Super useful. So you grow the tree down here. I'll show you, I guess, in the player's station. So you just put bone meal in one hand and saplings in your offhand, and then you can look at the block right here. You can plant it, bone meal it yourself, and then it's got a TNT duper right here and another TNT duper on top, so it can handle, I think, not quite all of the trees, but like most of the regular trees this thing can do, and it does them pretty quickly too. It does cherry logs the fastest, so that's usually what I do for just like bulk crafting stuff. I do plan on making a much bigger 2x2 spruce tree farm. I'm gonna try to make one of the 8 game tick spruce tree farms, but that might be a little excessive. I haven't really finished looking into the designs yet. I might end up going with one of the 12 game tick ones instead, just because they're so much easier to build. But if I can get away with building one of the 8 game ticks, I think that would be really cool. Some of the mods that I have, so I did say that this is mostly vanilla. It's not 100% vanilla. As you've seen, I've already used free cam a couple of times. I have Lightmatica, obviously, for building all of the farms. That's pretty much required for anything, more technical than just basic farms. I really don't enjoy following, like, guide videos or posts on Reddit and stuff like that. I really like reading about the farms, and I like seeing showcases of what other people can do. But whenever it comes to actually building them myself, just the pacing never really works out for what I want to do. And, it doesn't line up with how I like to play the game. So I use Lightmatica for building all of my farms. I've got Tweakaroo for inventory management, and, the item scroller thing is so incredibly useful. We've got Mini HUD, as you can see, up in the top left over here, where my mouse is going. Hopefully you can see that. So it'll show some coordinates. I use that for like despawn spheres and calculating perimeters and showing the hitboxes of different structures so I can make farms a little bit easier. I really, really enjoy the technical side of Minecraft, but I have been trying to branch out a little bit and make some more decorative buildings and some things that look good. So that's where this sort of house came from. I'm really, really happy with how this turned out, really. I mean, compared to most of the things that I build, this is pretty nice, honestly, and I'm pretty happy with it. I designed most of it in survival right here, just sort of building on the fly. I'm so bad at roofs. I usually have to do the roofs in creative, and then I'll just take a schematic of it and bring it over. I'll fly over here so we can see some of the other kind of cool world generation while I'm talking. There's a lot of cool stuff, so like this sort of biome and generation just doesn't happen in vanilla Minecraft. And then obviously this is an entirely new biome, so there's a lot of new biomes. There's a couple new structures. This is one of them right here. I honestly don't interact with the new structures like at all. Like some of these have spawnable areas. I think there's oh, what are those called? I can't remember what those are called, jerks. They spawn in raids. But like over here in the swamp biome as well, there's a village and some crystals in here. In the swamp biome, these little witch huts right here are actually bounding boxes and contain spawnable areas for witches. And I think that that's kind of neat, and if I was playing in sort of a more casual style, I would probably exploit one of those. But with this being like a more technical world, I really want to do it, by like what's possible in just regular vanilla Minecraft. I really like how everything looks, and I like these houses spawning around here, so I don't want to just get rid of them. But, like I'm working on a project right here I'll show in a couple minutes, and I am very purposefully not using the bounding boxes that I could be using. Even though it would make some rates of farms like kind of ridiculous, it's, that just kind of defeats the purpose of vanilla Minecraft for me. If I could just use a mod and do it in a different way, like why would you? Why are there polar bears over here? What part of this is spawnable for them? I just noticed there's a polar bear right there. This is desert? I don't know where those polar bears came from. That's kind of funny. Moving on though. So over here, some of you probably already know where this is going, but this is going to be my perimeter. The first perimeter that I'm making on the hardcore world. I've got a couple of them planned. Haven't even completed the first one yet, so I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself, but if I go into free cam and come over here, this is just a regular shifting floor, which farm they get shoved up to the top and I can hit them with looting. I've started on the first trench right here. I just started on this last night, so I didn't really get a ton of time to work on it, just like an hour or two. I've got the dupers built up on both sides, and I just had finished building this last duper before I ended up calling it a night last night and going to bed. So I'm going to get both of those running again here before too long. We'll get both the trenches made. Really won't be that bad, and then I can go and build the world leader after that. I'll probably make another video once this perimeter is done, and sort of going over the farm that I plan on putting in there. It is a double witch hut, so there's one right there that I made a farm on. Like I said, I could have just put the farm right here, and this bounding box is like 3 times the size of a regular witch farm. But I just kind of don't want to do that. It just seems a little bit disingenuous to me, and, a little bit past what I consider vanilla plus, if you will. But right over here, you see there is another just regular witch farm. It actually took me quite a while to find this seed. So with the couple of data packs that I'm using, you can't just use like the standard seed searching algorithm. There's a couple of programs out there. I think QBiomes is one of them that you can run, and it will, search for seeds based on given criteria. And you can designate that you want X structure within Y blocks of Z biome, for example. And so stuff like double witch huts are incredibly trivial to find with a program like that with vanilla generation, but with generation like this, they just don't work the same. So I had to do, I think it's Jacob's map or something online, where you can view the map of any like data pack generation, which made it really easy to actually see the map that was going to generate there, and then I could just sort of spam regenerate maps until I eventually had found. This was like the 3rd or 4th double witch hut seed that I found within 10 blocks or 10k blocks of spawn. So it's not really too far away. And it's sort of where I've just, I don't know, I can't sleep there with the witches. This is where I ended up choosing to make my bases just a little bit outside of the perimeter. Again, this is just going to be the first perimeter. I'm planning on making a couple more, but whenever I was searching for this world seed, I had to go and just keep regenerating maps like over and over and over again. I probably went through, I don't know, 1,000 of them or something, and had to go through all of them by hand. It took like a couple of days to find a couple good options. The first one that I found was awesome, and it was so good, and I loved it. I made it just before Halloween, so I'm actually using the Blaze and Caves advancement data pack as well, so I can look in, you know, see there's like over 1,000 advancements or something. It's just something kind of neat that I can work on whenever I get bored of building farms. It gives you little trophies and stuff, so if I go in here, there's like a ton of different advancements that you can get for doing all sorts of, you know, weird little challenges and stuff in there, and I think that that's really cool. So I had made my first world, the hardcore one, like the day before Halloween, I think. And if you don't know, there's a special advancement in here where you can only get a hidden locked advancement that doesn't normally show up if you kill one of the Halloween mobs on Halloween. You know, it's like wearing a jack-o'-lantern and everything. You have to kill one literally on Halloween day. And obviously you can just set your computer to October 31st, but you know, that sort of feels in the same vein as using the other bounding boxes over there, and I don't really want to do that. I sort of want to do it, for the most part, legitimately. So I had done it on then, and it was really special to me, and I loved it because I'd actually gotten that achievement that you can only get one day a year, and then I died. Like the next day. And that sucked. So I took like a couple days break, and I sort of reevaluated exactly what I wanted out of a hardcore world. And I had played a lot of Minecraft before, so I was just kind of getting the itch to play Minecraft again, and I wanted to challenge myself a little bit and figure out exactly how far I could get in a hardcore world. And so that's sort of what made this world come about. So this one has like an ice spawn and snow spawn. It's a really terrible spawn, actually, and I almost died at the very beginning of the world. But thankfully, I haven't had any close calls ever since. I did have one issue where my elytra didn't deploy. So I'll show my statistics at the end. I don't know if it'll actually show how many totems I've popped, but I've actually used one, exactly one so far. That's what these med kits are, by the way. They're just reskin totems that I think look a little bit better. My elytra didn't deploy whenever I was jumping off the top of the witch farm. For some reason, I know I was pressing the spacebar like a few times, and it just didn't go. So I fell all the way down and popped a totem, but that's the only one that I've popped. I haven't had any other close calls. Minecraft is actually really easy if you know what you're doing and just take your time and be patient with stuff. I'll probably show the process of collecting my first netherite upgrade. As you can tell, I'm still on old diamond tools because netherite doesn't really do anything extra for you, and it's a pretty big risk to go get it. So I'll definitely record myself whenever I go to get one of the smithing upgrades or smithing templates or whatever they're called, and I'll probably make a tunnel bore in the nether so I can get a ton of ancient debris without having to mine it all with beds and something. I just want to show this off real quick. This is a dispenser crafter that is a little bit broken right now because it ran out of cobblestone at the top, but it makes dispensers for me automatically, and holy cow, this is like the single best machine I have made in the world so far. It is such a freaking pain if you need to craft like a shulker box full of dispensers. That stuff sucks. So if you're going to be playing technical Minecraft, just look up a quick little dispenser crafting recipe or machine right here, and it's like the best thing. So I'll quit yapping. Let's go and show off the rest of the farms real quick so this video isn't too terribly long. So up here, obviously I got above the nether, just the regular, you know, thread under pearl at a ladder sort of trick. This is pretty easy, pretty standard. I've got a little honey and bee farm, or not bee farm, just a honey block farm, I should say, right here. I can't remember how many hives are in there. It's not incredibly fast, but it's not terribly slow either, you know. And so there's a row of hives on either side, and it's perfectly timed with these repeaters. These were a pain to place, by the way. Those suck, placing them one at a time and then all on, mostly on max delay. There's a couple that are like not on max delay that if you mess one up, the whole farm will run at the wrong speed. So it'll let the bees out and then it'll collect all of the honey and everything automatically. It just dumps the honey blocks or the honey bottles into a crafter, and so I get honey blocks down here at the end whenever it's all finished running. Got a super simple gold farm over here. Just a bunch of magma blocks up at the top so the pigment can spawn there. And then whenever it's running, I'll put the boots on there and I stand on top of the powder snow. So all of the piglins, or all the zombified piglins they're called, will pathfind over here. They'll all fall in right there and you can swing at them with a sword, sort of facing up at this angle. The pistons will push the drops over and the drops can fall through the powder snow. But as long as you're wearing leather boots, I'll show you right here. If you put leather boots on, the player does not fall through powder snow, but items do. So it's a pretty nice way to, you know, filter just the items out right there, and then they all get pushed over with pistons towards the bottom. Fly back down here. Just a quick and dirty little sorter and auto crafter at the bottom, so it'll pull all of the nuggets and nuggets and gold ingots out, and it sticks them into a couple of crafters up here at the top. It'll craft it all into blocks for me, and then I just get blocks actually stored there at the bottom. Most of these are empty because after I use the farm, I usually, you know, just like collect everything, because I'm not like AFKing this world, as I said. So if I'm using a farm, then it's usually because I need the blocks pretty directly for something, and you know, once it's done, then I'll just take all the resources from that farm and go actually use them on the project. So I'll jump down here. This is the only bedrock I've broken, actually, just this little 3x3. I did it by hand with the piston trick where you set down a piston and then spam right click and it'll set another piston down at the same time that the first one explodes. So I think it's the piston head retracting is what actually breaks the bedrock, and you can sort of confuse the game into doing that for you. This is my nether, and I really love how this looks. I'm gonna be honest, I know I said earlier that if I did it again, I probably wouldn't use amplified nether, but like, man, this stuff is just so cool, especially with distant horizons and shaders on, and just ripping around everywhere. Like the amplified nether looks so good, man. I really like it. Let me see if I can fly in the correct direction. I think it's this way. I have a little wither skeleton farm, so I'll fly over here and you can look at the nether as we go. And this stuff just looks so good. It's probably a little bit dark. If I need to, I'll increase it a bit in post, but man, it's just so much fun to fly around. This was a pain to navigate whenever I first started and had to go find my first fortress and stuff. But, you know, now that I have Elytra, it's pretty easy. So over here, I have my wither skeleton farm. Actually, this one I do know who it's by. This one's by Ian XO4. It's his peer pressure farm, so I'm not going to fly too close or the blazes will shoot the dogs. Let me come up here. So this gets me all of the general nether mobs, which is super useful, so I didn't have to build multiple farms, like one for blazes and one for wither skeletons and blah blah blah, right? So this one will get me all of the useful stuff that I could want from another fortress. It is really slow, not because I don't know where that block is from. That might be an issue. It is really slow, not because the farm is bad, but just because of, you know, I'm in an amplified nether, so the top Y block is like 128 blocks above what it would normally be, which decreases the rates of your farms pretty bad. You can fix that pretty easily. I just have to break all the bedrock above here. I could probably do that in like a day or two if I needed to, but really for single player, like I just, you know, sort of idled here and let my character auto swing with the, I think it's Tweakaroo that gives you the auto swinging stuff, and I got, I don't know, like 20 or 30 skulls or something pretty quickly, and that's plenty for me. I've made one beacon so far. I've actually fought 2 withers. I fought the first one in the end because I tried to trap him under the end portal, and I don't know if I did it wrong or if there's like some, well, like one of my optimizing mods had messed with the hitboxes somewhere, but he actually got out of the end portal where I tried to trap him. I've done a lot of withers like that before, so I'm not really sure what I did wrong, but the first time that I tried it, he got out of the end portal after I had started killing him. And after he got out, he started flying around everywhere, and it was a real pain. And I had to like fly up in the air and sort of hit him with my bow. Am I going the wrong way? I think I'm going the wrong way. I had to hit him with my bow, like way up in the air above the end island, and it was a huge pain. Thankfully, I'd brought some potions with me just in case something happened. I ended up killing him finally and using my sword, flying around and just jabbing at him where I could. But whenever he died, since I was so far above the end island, I actually couldn't find the nether star as it was falling fast enough. So I went all the way back down to the ground and I picked up all of the other stuff. And whenever I had gotten all the way back down, I could not find the nether star anywhere. So I went back and I watched the replay, because I do have replay mod on. And in doing so, I saw that the freaking nether star fell in between this tiny little 1x1 little hole in the end island. And it just disappeared, man. It fell all the way down into the void. So the very first wither, it took me like half an hour to fight, because I did it in a really stupid way. And I ended up losing the nether star anyway. So the second time that I fought the wither, I just took him down into my tiny little strip mine that I had done to get some basic resources at the very beginning of the game. And from there, I just, you know, you can spawn him at the end of the strip mine. Let me land up here. You can spawn him at the end of the strip mine, and he'll have a really tough time getting to you, so you can just sort of smoke him in there. So I did that for my second beacon. I haven't needed any more beacons past that. I'm starting to get to the point where I probably should make a couple more beacons, so that might be my next project. Let's see, pause it. I think I need to go. I thought it was this way. I don't know. I'm getting like lost in the nether now because I'm talking. I'll find my way back. It's fine. But that's definitely the way to go for killing withers at the moment. I might try it again in the end bedrock portal at some point. But for now, I'm just going to use the little strip mines. I do need a couple more beacons. I'd like to put a couple in the nether here. You know, like a couple regen beacons so I can go idle for longer without needing to eat at like my gold farm or this farm or something, but it's not a huge priority. So let me hop back over to my nether hub and we'll keep going. Alright, back at the nether hub. I just had to fly in the right frickin' direction. Never thought that'd be too hard. Most of these other nether portals don't really go anywhere super special. I have a general mob farm, like just a Nembon style flushing mob farm. I think that's this one over here, and like that one off in the distance goes off to a desert where I can mine sand. What is this one actually? I don't know off the top of my head. Oh, this is go to the end. That's actually pretty cool. That over there in the distance is just a little piglin setup where I can barter my gold away, but I'll show the end real quick. I don't want this video to be too terribly long. I know I've been just kind of rambling the whole time, but let me jump in here real quick, make sure I have my stuff on me, and I'll set my spawn. I do actually have to set my spawn here. Like I make sure that the bed is here every time, and I always use it before I go through the portal. Because one time I forgot to use it, and I spawned all the way back at world spawn, and it's like a couple thousand blocks away. It's not super hard to get back, but it's a pain, man. So this is my end dimension. So obviously with Distant Horizons, I can actually see all the way out to the outer end islands, and I think that that is super cool. I'm a huge fan of Distant Horizons. It's probably my favorite mod that I have, like, sort of in general. But as you can see, I'm going to look down so I don't snap an enderman. Like, as you can see, the generation of the end island itself is really wonky, right? So this made it pretty freaking hard to fight the ender dragon before I had elytra. I just used my bow, and you mostly just ran around with some, you know, some pillars, and I did a little water bucketing here and there. It wasn't hard, but it did take me like 45 minutes to do. So I just, you know, as with everything else in hardcore, if you just take your time, none of it's hard. You can do it all pretty much safely. You just have to do it correctly. And as long as you take your time, that's not terrible. So if you go through the gateway right here, this is what goes to my shulker farm. I'm not going to turn it on because I don't really need to right now. It's just a regular reactor shulker farm. Nothing super special. There's a lever over there that'll turn it on and make the rates go way up. But I wanted to show some of the, like, crazy generation I had to deal with. So, like, this is where I spawned. This is the first one that I went through here. I've only killed one dragon so far. So this is some of the railway that I had to build. Let me make sure my elytra is good. I'm actually going to grab an extra elytra for being in the end. Just real quick. I think these are enchanted. Yeah, Unbreaking 3 and Mending. Just in case, right? Like, there's always a couple of things that you should have on you in hardcore. Obviously, an ender chest is one. You should always have a good chest plate with you, golden apples, an extra totem. I always keep a bed on me so I can sleep in the overworld, but whenever you're flying around in the end, you should always have an extra elytra in your inventory directly in case yours breaks. And I always like to make sure that I have plenty of rockets just in case. I don't really need ender pearls here. I think I'm fine without them, but I'll just quickly go through. This is my trophies. I'll show you those whenever we get back. This is what's in my ender chest at the moment. Nothing crazy, right? Just sort of the basic stuff so far. That's why I wasn't super interested in really recording anything before I got to this point, because like nothing that I've done so far is really special in any way. It's been a lot of fun, and so you know it's special to me, of course, but the actual impressive bits are what I'm working on now with the stuff like the perimeter project, where you know like making perimeters isn't anything new or crazy impressive these days in technical Minecraft, but doing it in single player is always, you know, sort of a feat in and of itself, and then doing it in hardcore obviously, you know, makes me pretty happy. So hopefully I can actually get that project finished. I'll just fly over here so you guys can see some of this end generation, but like this stuff is wild, right? Like that is so cool, and it's amazing to be able to fly around. But holy cow, I had to bridge across this whole thing before I had my elytra. And that stuff sucks. I don't ever use the toggle shift because I find that it actually gets me killed more often than just holding the shift button down. So I shifted all the way over here. This is the very first ship that I ever visited. As you can see, I forgot the dragon head on the front of it, and I thought it was just kind of funny, so I've left it there since I've been back. I ended up raiding quite a few end cities before I left the end on my first trip. I ended up leaving with like 6 or 7 elytras or something. I made sure to bring a shulker box of supplies with me so I could enchant them, you know, and a bunch of fireworks and stuff like that. But man, like just the generation that actually applies. So this is the Nullscape data pack, and I really love it. I definitely would use this. Oh, there's a gateway right here. I'll just go through that. I definitely would use this on probably every world going forward. I don't see any reason not to. There's not really a ton of things that you can do in the end anyway, but this just adds a lot of really cool... Are those phantoms? How are there phantoms in the end? I didn't know they could spawn here. I wonder if that's vanilla or if that's something being funky. I might look that up after, but... Oh, I bet it's from the biome. Literally what I was just talking about. I bet that's one of the Nullscape biomes spawns phantoms over there or something. Like, there's a couple little cool things that like that happen, and I think that is completely permissible, and I actually really like that. I don't know what those Endermen are doing, but they're kind of freaking me out, man. So that is my hardcore world so far. Let me jump back in over here, and I'll go back over to my spawn, or not my spawn area, to like my sort of home area. To end off the video. So I have a couple more projects going forward. I don't know what that is, by the way. If anybody knows why I get like 4 or 5 seconds of lag after I go through a portal, it happens every time, no matter whenever I go through. So like whenever I go through this portal, I'm gonna come through, and if I guess I can use those, but like it takes me a couple seconds to be able to open chests and to be able to use elytra and stuff. I don't know which mod is the one that actually causes that lag, and if anybody knows, I would love to fix that, because it's really annoying, and I'm worried that like a creeper on the other side is going to just dunk me at some point. So I don't know, in the meantime I'll just be careful about it, but that's sort of what I've got going on so far. Nothing really special, you know. I do have the actual replay files for probably 99% of what I've done here. I don't keep absolutely every single one of them. Sometimes they're just me AFKing and, you know, letting the game run on the other monitor for a couple hours, and I don't have infinite storage space, so I usually don't keep those, but I do have all of the actual main activities of all the way going back to world creation to right now. So I'm pretty proud of what I've been able to do so far. It's been about a month or so, I think, that I've been playing in this world. You know, real time. Let me check the days real quick. It is day 394 right there, so we're coming up on that day 500. I just got the advancement for 365 yesterday or something, I think, for the surviving a year advancement. So going forward right now, I am obviously working on the witch farm perimeter right here. I'm going to make a double witch farm. I don't know exactly which design I'm going to use yet. Definitely want a design that uses looting, so I can bring all of the witches over to the center. I don't know if I want to use minecarts and keep it single dimension, or if I want to just use portals and bring them over that way, but since I only have a double witch farm and not a quad witch farm, I definitely want to use looting. I don't plan on using any raid farms because I sort of got dunked in the 1.21, and I never really liked raid farms before that anyway. So I'm really, really happy about the witch farm buffs, and I want to sort of squeeze the most that I can out of this perimeter. This is just the first of my planned perimeters, so going forward I plan on making one for a mob farm. I'm gonna make one for sugarcane and bamboo. Probably I'll do half the perimeter for sugarcane, another half for bamboo, and I actually already have a design picked out for that I've tested pretty extensively in a creative world. It's really huge, but it scales up really well and runs really, really lag efficiently, so I think that'll be cool. I'll probably put that perimeter right next to the mob farm perimeter, so I can ship over boxes of gunpowder and bamboo together to just make rockets automatically. And then from there, obviously, I'm going to need a perimeter for the scale of iron farm that I plan to build. I can't remember the exact rates on it. There's a couple from Nico is Lost that are really good, and then a couple on the TMC Discord and like the Iron Lovers Discord and stuff that make a huge amount of iron, but are kind of a ridiculous amount of effort to build, and they run kind of laggy if you don't put them in a perimeter. So I figured that's probably a pretty good excuse to just, make another pretty big hole. And I really enjoy making these, so that'll be a lot of fun. And then the last one that I'll make for sure is going to be a shulker farm. I think it's Kaizim made a shulker farm that produces really, really crazy rates, so I probably build that design or maybe some alternative of it. And that one also is going to need a perimeter so that I don't just lag out the world everywhere. I have a pretty decent computer, but whenever you start getting to a certain point with the higher end technical farms, then you just need a perimeter to put it in anyway, and that gives me an excuse to keep playing and just make the big old holes everywhere, and I think that that's really cool. I'd also like to eventually make like an octagon main perimeter where I'll put a main storage, and I want to make it like an octagon shape just because it's a little bit unique. And I think that that would be kind of cool. And then I'll put my main storage there whenever I eventually outgrow this little house over here and need an actual main storage for, every item in the game where it can store shulker boxes and stuff like that. But that's quite a ways down the road. I don't want to get too terribly ahead of myself. I haven't even finished the first one yet, so I am going to quit yapping. I'm going to get back to playing. Sorry this video was so long, but I definitely wanted to show off everything I've done so far and just sort of my general thoughts on how I play the game. I will show my statistics screen real quick as well. So if anybody wants to pause the video at any point during this, you're welcome to double check anything that I've done. It's been a lot of fun playing on hardcore so far, and I know that this world won't last forever, and whenever it does eventually die, I'll make another update video, about exactly what happened. It'll probably just be a replay file, because like I said, I really don't record much of this actual gameplay. But who knows, maybe I'll start to record a little bit more. I don't know if it'll show the one totem that I used. Can I search for totems? I don't know. I'm using a different statistics screen, so I'm not evoker, that's what they're called. So I'm not really used to exactly how to find everything on here. Is there a wither in here? Can I show both the wither? Yeah, so I've killed 2 withers, right? But the one frickin' nether star ended up falling through, and that was a huge pain, so I had to kill a second one. I've killed 21,000 zombie piglins, 23,000 slimes. Witches should be in here somewhere. I don't have an enderman farm yet. 2,800 witches, not a ton, but from a single witch farm, that's not terrible, right? That's not terrible. I haven't died to any of the mobs yet, obviously. Food and drink. I started eating mostly steak, and then I switched to golden carrots at some point, so, I mean, obviously you don't need a ton of, food to actually eat in just single player, so, but that's what my stats are. I haven't actually found any notch apples anywhere, so I am still on the lookout for one of those. Killed a couple of blazes. I don't have an actual blaze farm yet. I need to make an actual looting creeper farm, or maybe just a really crazy creeper farm or something. I don't really know what the difference is between hostile creatures and mobs. Maybe passive mobs show on the other one or something weird. But that's my world so far. If anybody has any questions, or if you guys want links on any of the farms that I've built, just drop me a comment down below. I'll make sure to reply to everybody that has anything. So it's been a lot of fun. This is just how I play. You know, there's a lot of other ways to play Minecraft, and, you know, this is what I like to do myself. I do consider this mostly vanilla, but I'm never going to claim that it's 100% vanilla, because obviously it's not, right? So I sort of dub it Vanilla Plus, and it's been a lot of fun for me to play on. It's sort of rejuvenated my love for Minecraft, playing in this world, because I know that there's a huge risk every time that I get on and play, and so I sort of have to lock in and do it, you know, to the extent of my skills, and that's been a lot of fun so far. So that's all for me for now. I'm going to go ahead and sign off and get back to work on the witch perimeter, and I will see you guys in the next video. So thanks.